dive into Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
There you go. What did I tell you? Yo, the graphics are insane. Holy shit. At least in that shot it was.
In Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you will relive the epic saga of the Viking invasion of England. You play as Eivor, a Viking from Norway, who will lead his or her battle-hardened warriors across the North Sea to the British Isles. Eivor is driven by an ambitious goal, to build a thriving Norse settlement in a hostile land.
For the good of our clan, it is time we go a Viking.
It actually looks
Today
beautiful.
we raid, that tomorrow we may build.
England is a dark age tangle of broken kingdoms and warring dynasties.
Witcher 3 vibes.
A land of opportunity and riches. As you prowl England's rivers by longship,
Looks bad.
you may
Come on,
raid
man.
locations you spot from the shoreline.
Come on.
Ground your ship and blow your horn to lead your raiding crew into battle.
Pillaging villages sounds really interesting. You can set houses on fire.
Your crew will assist you in all your raids, fighting enemies, battering down doors, and stealing cargo too heavy for one set of arms.
This is what I'm excited
Whatever
for, dude.
riches and resources you pillage may be used to develop your settlement, giving you access to useful services, better tools, and new settlers. At the heart of your settlement is the Alliance map. It will serve as a record of the allies you have made, and a guide for future opportunities. The Viking Age was a time of warriors and legends. In Valhalla, you will find the largest variety of enemies ever assembled in an Assassin's Creed game.
Okay.
Every archetype offers a unique challenge. Some will coordinate with their allies for special attacks.
Okay, that's
while others
interesting.
will use nearby objects to their advantage, including the bodies of fallen warriors.
What the f...
To face these attacks, you must find and exploit your opponent's weaknesses to gain the upper hand.
This already
Take
looks
the
like...
fight to your foes with a host of brutal new combat abilities. Snare them with the Viking harpoon.
Ooh.
Pummel them
Wait,
with
there's
throwing axes.
decapitations?
Incapacitate them with the new stun system to keep them at a distance, or finish them off.
Dude, this already looks better than Odyssey, like 10 times better.
Dual wield any two weapons you
I don't
wish
care what
to unleash
anybody's
a deadly
saying.
combination of attacks.
I'm loving it.
Customize your fighting style as you see fit, and become a legendary Viking warrior.
Holy shit.
All combinations of weapons are available to dual wield, including two shields.
Two shield gameplay. There we have it. I
Not
felt
all
that.
situations call for violence. In this new land, a Viking must find a way
Yes.
to adapt.
Social stealth, baby.
As Eivor is not welcome in England, you may need to outsmart your enemies, avoiding unwanted attention in towns and bustling cities.
There's the Assassin's
Use
Creed.
Eivor's hood and cloak to blend with crowds, and slip past watchful eyes, an unseen hunter among the people. From capital cities and villages to the dense forests and rolling hills of England, exploration is vital to keeping yourself sharp. You must feed off the land if you hope to endure.
There's hunting.
Hunt and forage to
Okay.
replenish your health and fortify your equipment.
Well, I mean, we had hunting in the previous ones too, so...
Search pagan temples and Roman ruins for new activities and challenges to strengthen yourself and your settlement. The more you explore, the more of England's secrets you will reveal.
Okay, I'm legit hyped for Assassin's Creed.
But as you push deeper
I haven't
into
been in
England,
like
the enemy
over 7
will
years
push
hyped
back.
for an Assassin's Creed game.
In a series of climactic moments, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will feature massive assaults in which you will lead Eivor's army into battle against heavily guarded Saxon fortresses.
Today we will reclaim her. Today we fight for your land. and tomorrow we rebuild.
Not sure what.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla will transport you to wondrous and haunted lands,
Yeah.
inspired by Norse myths and England's pagan roots. It will challenge and surprise, with unforgettable characters, thrilling triumphs, and tragic losses.
Facial
giving you
animations
the
look crazy.
chance to live your own Viking saga.
Ooh, look at that, Mortal Kombat. Okay, I'm actually excited for Valhalla. It looks way better than the gameplay leak. I'm not gonna lie, I actually like the changes they did to the combat. Not sure about you guys, but I actually really enjoyed that
9th
combat
century England
sequence.
is truly unlike anything the franchise has seen before.
Here's the gameplay. Let's watch this because this actually
Hey
looks
everyone,
nice.
Welcome to the Ubisoft Forward post show. My name is Yusuf McGee, and this is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We're going to take a deep dive into about 30 minutes of gameplay, and we're joined by a very special guest here.
Hey everyone, this is Philippe Bergeron, otherwise known as Fizz. I am the quest director on Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
So Fizz, we're setting up here for what looks like an epic encounter. Tell us exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, so here we're midway through the quest that we're showing for UB Forward. Here we're looking at the assault of Burgh Castle. So these are big moments that usually sort of culminate at the end of the story. And so here Eivor, our Viking raider, is taking a group of raiders and Fyrds into Burgh Castle to go and take down Rued and his clan.
So who exactly is Rued, and why does Eivor sort of want to pick a fight with him?
Basically, Rued comes into play about halfway through this story arc, where at the beginning of the arc, this is something that happens before, Rued basically caused a lot of turmoil.
Yeah,
within
it's the same
territory,
mission from the
and
league,
Oswald, who's the sort
but
of
played by somebody
elderman
who's
to be
obviously
to
way
inherit
better
this
at
territory, needs your
playing
help to take him
games.
down. Oswald having just been defeated in a previous quest, and so here this is revenge.
I
but
kind of
also
don't like the enemy
accomplishing your ultimate
tracking.
So Fizz,
Like they,
as you're talking, we're seeing some
they
of
kind
the
of stick to
combat
you.
of Valhalla. Can you tell us a little bit about the changes to combat this time around?
We wanted to
Oh, there's the attack.
basically add a lot
We saw
of
this in the
new
leaks.
mechanics to it. So we added like some dual wielding for the player, like a stun system in there. And we really needed to do this to sort of portray that sort of the brutality that comes with being a Viking.
Sweet,
This image
dude.
sort of fits in
Tell
with
me
that,
that's not exciting.
the time and the character.
The combat looks so much better than Odyssey.
Oswald, he lives. Oswald lives!
Eivor, is that you? Shut your ass, twig spine.
Here, Eivor has taken her entire army through the assault, and finally, it's revealed that our Elderman, our ally, Oswald, is still alive, and Rued has him captive.
So this is what it comes to, Wolfkist? Two Danes fighting over a filthy Saxon whoreson? If this swine is your prize, come and get him.
So now that we've seen
Okay,
that
there's the
Oswald is
combat.
alive, we have Rued within our sights. What's the next step here?
So the next move for Eivor is to finally face off against Rued. She has her allies, they can take care of the rest of the army. Now it's time to go one-on-one against Rued in one of our boss
Poor
battles,
dog.
actually.
Oh, I mean wolf.
Your battle is not yet won, Oswald.
Kick it!
And it's worth
Kick the
pointing out,
dog.
actually, that here what we're showing is the player going and facing off against Rued aggressively, but we tend to always have to support a 360-degree approach in these things. So the player could have approached this a little bit more stealthily and gotten at least like a good critical hit on either Rued or his wolf, and so you can play this a little bit more strategically if that's your playstyle.
So we're not only fighting Rued here, but also his pet wolf, right?
Here, one of my preferred strategies is to eliminate the wolf first, just focus fire on him. It takes at least one opponent out of the combat. Now, Rued will have extra abilities that come into play if you do eliminate his wolf, but I think having one opponent less in the battlefield makes
The
for
movement looks a
good
bit
strategy,
floaty, but
in the whole.
it's not like too big of a deal. Yeah, way too floaty over there. And delayed. Yo, look at that kick, Jesus.
For all your efforts.
Dude,
only
what
the
was that
cold
stomp?
bride of Niflheim awaits
My guy just jumped on his organs and took like half his
Not
life.
treated as equals. We are better than this, than all of them.
Do not drag me down to the
He probably
sewage
stomped him in the nuts. Maybe that's why she dealt so much damage. That definitely looked like a stomp in the nuts. Yeah, look at him. That's definitely one to the
Throw
groin.
in with these wastrels, these arrogant swine.
Eivor, no! He should be tried before God, a lawful assembly.
Yeah,
Alright,
facial
so we
animations are not
defeated
ready.
Rued, we freed Oswald. What comes next?
Oswald, in this case, prefers for Rued to be kept alive, and so you basically have to choose: are you going to go against his wishes or stay true to your nature?
So we have this choice to make, but before we get into that, I want to rewind a little bit because we just did this big, grand assault, but Eivor couldn't have done it alone. She clearly had to recruit some folks along the way, get some troops, get some allies. So let's actually rewind and see how we went about first gathering those troops.
Right. So when coming up to an assault, it's a game of numbers. Eivor can go into pretty much any location and be a stealthy Viking, eliminating some of the assets, which ultimately would be a strategy. You can do that, and you'll have some of the ingredients or of the assets there that will have been sabotaged, but you still need an army. So here what we're seeing is Eivor going around the countryside and raising what we call a fyrd, which is the men and the women of the territory who come up and fight in the name of a king. So here Eivor is going around and trying to convince people to fight in the name of Oswald to finally take down the oppressor that is Rued.
Defending East Anglia, defending you. Will you not do the same?
What?
Witcher 4.
Defense of a lost cause?
Yeah, so she's really using like the image and like the leadership that Oswald had, what he meant to the people in his name. She's going to recruit these people.
Pretty words, Dane. But the men of Theovard have their own battles to fight.
So we're told by this Reeve that there are troops, there are allies that he could add to our cause, but first we sort of need to do him a favor, is that right?
Yeah, so obviously these people have been run down by Rued and the impact he's had on the territory, so I think a lot of these people have sort of lost hope. And so you need to show them that there is hope. And so here Eivor is basically helping them take back one of their prized locations by taking a couple men and raiding a nearby township, basically taking it back for the people and showing that there's a reason to continue fighting and then get them on your side.
Dude, if not for anything, I'm really excited for those like raiding features. Like going in with your own party. I really enjoyed the Banner Lord, and that's why I kind of want to see this. Like setting up tropes and invading castles and taking them for yourself. And yeah, the gore looks way better than any other Assassin's Creed
When
game.
Eivor does this, obviously you have access to a full suite of abilities. So again, the improvements that we've done to the fight system. You have some brutal axe throwing in there. You have archery or like range combat abilities in there as well. So really, again, like depending on what your playstyle is, you can customize your loadout
that
and
looks
go
nasty.
in there how you wish.
I really like the blood and gore in this game. Finally. Decapitations and like really bloody
Just saw this
combat.
giant pulse go out. What exactly was that?
So that is what we call the Odin sight. The Odin sight is basically our interpretation of the eagle vision from previous games, and we thought it was good to sort of bring that back. It's basically Eivor's intuition. It's how she perceives the world. When player uses that, it'll highlight basically interactive objects, like things that will bring her an advantage. So we'll have arrows, like health consumables that are in there.
Dude,
So
it's
it
so
really is
much
like
more
a good
violent.
way of sort of
But this is much
understanding the
better
world
combat,
and
at least in
showing
my
you,
opinion.
like things that you can go and touch.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of things we can touch, we just picked up this awesome new weapon.
It's something we wanted to play with on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where we have fewer weapons in the game,
Oh,
but you can
nice.
invest in them more, so they become your weapon. And so depending what your preferred playstyle is or your preferred weapon type, then you can go and choose, I'm gonna fight with this weapon and invest heavily into that.
Not only are we looting weapons, but we see something here called the Book of Knowledge. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
They unlock skills for the players. So here you can see the Valkyrie dive that has just been unlocked. We have these spread out throughout the world. So again, to promote exploration and discovery, As you travel through the world and you explore locations, you can find these books that will add abilities that you can go and invest in, put into your loadout, then go into the different locations with the different quests in the game and use those depending on what your playstyle is.
And yeah,
Now
this
we've
is Shadow
recaptured
of
this
War.
village, we've secured more troops for our assault. Let's jump back now and figure out what we want to do with Rued.
The rightful king of East Anglia has spared your life today, and so it will be.
What was that? Are you not glad you're alive, my G?
Compassion is a virtue suited for anyone, Eivor, including you. Thank you.
I wonder if this changes anything.
Eivor decided to let him live. Rued is really angry about that. Being a Norse Viking, being put to the death in battle is your road to Valhalla. So he was basically denied access to Valhalla in this situation. Obviously, all of these decisions come into play later on in the game, so we have very difficult decisions for the player to make. We didn't want to have easy decisions.
Yeah, you know, when I was playing, I decided to listen to Oswald and spare Rued's life, but what exactly is the relationship like between Eivor and Oswald?
So the relationship between Eivor and Oswald is an alliance. It's basically Eivor is surrounded by territories that initially getting into England are hostile towards her, and obviously if you want to set up a new settlement, you want to make sure that your neighbor is friendly. So here in East Anglia, Oswald is the man for the job, where putting him into a position of power would help her sort of secure her territory. So earlier on to the territory, Eivor comes in here, meets Oswald. The problems he had with Rued are sort of put to light, and going through the arc, you basically help him deal with Rued and aligning basically Danes with Saxons in one territory.
So, Fizz, we've completed the assault, we've gotten our hands dirty with some combat, taken down Rued. We have this big open region of East Anglia, so before we head off to Oswald's wedding, what do you say we head out, have some fun, and see what we can get into in the open world?
That sounds great.
So we see a cat here
this
with
was-
a speech bubble
this was
above
from
it,
the leak.
and you best believe if you let me talk to a cat, I'm gonna talk to a cat.
Yeah, these are some of our some of my favorite moments actually in the game, where we put out a whole bunch of events throughout the territory. And it sort of rewards, again, exploration, going around. It's a chance for us also to sort of showcase a different side of Eivor. A lot of the quests sort of deal more with like politics and warfare, and this shows a slightly more human nature to her. So it permits us to explore that character a little bit more. And so here, basically, like you're trying to help a kid with his cat, and ultimately get that cat to sort of join your crew as a cat raider.
You just said cat,
Cat
raider
raiders.
way too casually. You're telling me I could have a cat Viking raider
Dude.
on my longship?
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Oh my god, yes, I love it.
Dude, there's a cat on your freaking boat. Okay.
So yeah, as you're riding around the rivers of England, you would see a cat basically walking around your longship, keeping your Viking raiders company.
I mean, that's not
Just
bad. I
talking
kind of
about
like
the
these
Viking
details.
longship, we're seeing some of that gameplay here now. Can you talk a little bit about how that works and functions in Valhalla?
Yeah, so starting out on this project, I think the Viking longship is one of the biggest images that we all have when we think about Vikings in our game. And so Vikings had this awesome design for longship that had a very shallow hull, so it permitted them to go very far inland very quickly, and you could basically disembark Viking raiders like on pretty much any shore. We added that into the game, where you can basically sail up to any location and then just decide to disembark with your guys and raid a location, loot all its treasure, get back in the ship, and then continue sailing down the river.
Dude,
to
it
your
looks
next
beautiful.
opportunity.
I kind
So I
of
know
like
past
it.
Assassin's Creed games allowed for songs and things like that to be sung on ships. Will Valhalla have a similar version of that?
Yeah, so this is something we actually wanted the crew of your ship to become like your home away from home. So we added stories and songs into the ship. So basically, as the player is going around, you could decide to have your skull sort of sing a song for you as you row down the river. But you can also decide, depending on who the raiders are in your ship, to hear more about their life. So you can actually queue up stories, and they'll give you a little bit more background on who they are. So you get to know your sort of fighters as you're traveling around the world, which is a cool moment.
I'm actually
We're
impressed.
seeing a bit of a different view. What exactly are we looking at?
We had this on previous Assassins where you would like ride on your horse and you could pull out, have the horse sort of follow the track. We have a similar thing for the ship where you can put up your sails. It's cruise control for the ship, so you can pull back, take in the scenery, listen to some songs or some stories.
So basically cinematic mode from Red Dead
in.
Redemption. Definitely looks like it. I think there's also one for the horse.
So, you know, speaking of Viking songs, we have an activity here that's not exactly singing, but kind of related, right?
Yeah, so here what we have is what we call flighting, which was an activity that Norse people would partake in. They would like to have a battle of wits and sort of poetry where insults would be thrown back and forth between each other. The idea was to try and have a good insult, but also to have a good rhythm and a good rhyme in there. So it's basically a precursor to rap battles.
No way.
Here's the silver. Now begin.
You can insult sing like rap battles.
To all those whom I speak, they say Eivor's a clod.
Oh,
Then
dude.
you're speaking to fools and their knowledge is flawed.
Well,
How exactly do you go about being successful in one of these?
Dude, this looks
trick
awesome,
behind a
dude.
good flight was to choose the right insult, identifying the right cadence, and then trying to find what rhymed the best.
Mistaken, I'm known for my might.
interesting. Interesting.
Dude, this looks awesome.
Silent
8 Mile
whispers
video.
all claim that you're terribly
I mean, the
dense.
video game.
Then you've clearly misheard them. My wit is immense.
Oh, you looked out with that one. Well, what a surprise. Eivor of the Raven clan is a true talent. I'm shocked.
Don't believe everything you hear, unless it touches on my flighting. Then heed every word.
Take the coin.
So now that we've proven our
Nice.
sharp tongue and wit, I think it's time for a bit more relaxing activity. So we're fishing here.
Yeah, that's it. So we gave Eivor a fishing line, so you can actually throw out a line and go catch some fish. This is used basically to play into our new health loop, where the player will lose
Red Dead
health
Redemption.
in the world, and it doesn't automatically regenerate like we would have in the past. So you actually have to go out and get some supplies. So you'll find mushrooms and some food that you can gather. But here, like you can also catch some fish and consume that to regain some health. We also will sometimes have it in certain quests. So it's a good way to sort of chill out on the side of the water and just, again, take it all in.
I actually like this. It's basically Red Dead Redemption Assassin's Creed.
So this is
I
what
can't
we
be
call
mad.
one of our offering altars. So the idea is that you find these around the world and you make offerings to it. So it'll take like animal parts and stuff that you can find throughout the world. Here what you're seeing though is sort of like a fancy version of it, where as you do your offering you get interrupted by some kids that basically come and steal your stuff. So it was just a way for us to sort of showcase that like the systems and the activities in the world can sort of play in with some quests and some little events. So it's our way to sort of dress up these moments and make it all fit inside the whole experience.
Yeah, this seemed like a really sort of unexpected turn for what I thought was going to be kind of a simple interaction.
Yeah, and it's really what we were trying to do with these events is to give another dimension to Eivor, other than just, you know, the pure rar Viking or the politician. Because you can imagine at some point that will grow old if you're always telling that version of the character. So it lets us really go into the depth of who is Eivor, what motivates her, how she can interact with the world outside of warfare and politics.
Your stealth needs work.
We were close.
And it also showcases like a different
Took, traveler.
facet of the world at the same time. It's not only Eivor, so it just widens the breadth of the stories that we can tell.
So who exactly are these two children?
These are kids of East Anglia. They are going through tough times with whatever Rooted's been doing to the territory, and so they're just here trying to survive and basically exploit the people that are there to make offerings.
It was kind of nice to see that Eivor wasn't really necessarily upset at them for stealing, and you know, after you talk to them, you have the choice of helping them. You can, you know, give them food, give them some money, or you know, maybe just say, "Hey, good luck, on your way."
Yeah, and then this is something we also wanted to do a lot. Like, so here we're doing an event, we do it in Quest as well, but we want to give a lot of this agency into players' hands so that they can sort of shape Eivor a little bit. Who she is, so it represents them a little bit more, and they can roleplay that a little bit better. And again, it just gives her like a little bit more humanity in these moments.
What large walkers should do. Provide for small walkers.
That kid looks like out of Comic-Con.
Here, large walker.
A necklace.
Yes, it's a St. Martin seal. You're welcome here anytime, large walker. You're one of us now. Visit us, okay?
I will. Take care now, small green walkers.
Okay, looks a bit...
So I think AC veterans might recognize this here, but what exactly is Eivor chasing down?
Yeah, so here you're seeing Eivor running down one of our tattoo images. So this is challenging the player on free run abilities, but also
dude,
for
it's been years
fans
since
of
we
the
saw
series,
that.
sort of pulling at their heartstrings for some beloved features.
So are we going to be able to tattoo Eivor?
Yes, by collecting these tattoos, you actually bring them back to your settlement, and then you can customize different body parts, having different tattoos everywhere. So again, another form of expression, and it's sort of to represent that Viking culture.
Fizz, one of my favorite things when I was just out there exploring East Anglia was coming upon a house or a building and realizing that there was a chest inside, but that there was no easy way in. And in this case, I saw all the doors were barred, but I knew that because there was a chest in there, there must have been some way to get inside. So I went around the back and, you know, found a way in.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually caught on to that. You're pointing at something that we wanted to work on a lot on Valhalla, where we wanted the exploration to make you feel smarter. So we played a lot with puzzle solving, so making sure that every house that you find sort of appeals to you, like it draws your attention, and then when you want to come and explore, it's not given to you. You still have to work for it a little bit, so it'll challenge you on your observation skills, logic, just trying to find how do I get
What's
into
with
this.
that body,
so we play
though?
a lot with level design, quest design to offer challenges to players, and you basically come out of it like with a better feeling for the exploration, but you also get to see more of a story behind these locations, which we've crafted. So it gave us a little bit more time to sort of slow down the experience and tell a different version of a story.
It seems that they kind of listened to the feedback on Odyssey and improved upon it
A poor victim.
in almost every way. Like, there's many concerns that I had with Odyssey that
and just finding things out in the world, I was
seem
just
to be
wandering
addressed
and
with
came
Valhalla.
across this clearing and found this kind of morbid altar.
Yeah, so this is one of our bigger events that we have scattered in the world. So as Eivor explores, she can find altars like this, and by interacting with them, here it's a trap that's been set by this character named Regan. Now, there's a bigger story behind all this. There's multiple steps to it later on. So this is one of the moments. It permits us to go into a slightly more mystical realm and play with a boss fight that has more magical abilities, if we will. And basically have this awesome boss fight in the middle of the swamps.
Yeah, this is the one from the leaks.
And so here the abilities that you see Reagan using are a little bit on the mystical side of things. What's happening is Eivor at the beginning in that trap is poison, and so she starts sort of hallucinating, seeing the world in a sort of different light and filter. And so that's sort of what lets us go into the realm of the weird.
Spirit of my father's rage, fill me!
Okay, that makes sense, I guess. I kind of don't like the mystical fights, but yeah. I mean, this was always the explanation, wasn't it? You're hallucinating when you're fighting. There's so many bosses that it kind of begs the question, are you hallucinating 24/7? Like, are you on shrooms all day long, around the clock? There it is. Oh.
So we just saw here
that was not an
Union
easy
belongs
death.
to something called the Daughters of Lyria.
Yeah, that's correct. By finding the other daughters, you'll get a little bit more backstory on who they are.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
don't want
You
to
get
spoil that
high
too
and you
much,
see
but it
thunder.
creates like a sort of greater story that is not on the main path in any way, but it's still very rich and adds to the lore of this world and actually plays into history.
So we just had a really exciting, really intense boss battle. I think it's time for something a little bit more relaxing and calming now.
Yeah, it's all about pacing yourself with the highs and the lows. So here we have a low chill moment of what we call building a cairn. So Eivor, as she explores the world, will find these sort of meditative areas where you have a pile of rocks that you could just stack on on top of another using physics. And I mean, yeah, the ultimate goal is to try and get the highest pile of rocks, but really it's about taking in the sights, relaxing, taking a step back, and just building something.
What?
Stack stones into cairns.
Okay.
These?
Yes. Think of this as a test of mind and wit. Stack the cairns
That was supposed to be on top. There you go.
I mean, you can spend as much time as you want building these things, making them as high as you want, as weird as you want.
Yeah, probably
I'm
I
sure,
wouldn't.
like a lot of these stuff will end up on the internet, like people comparing structures. And the cool thing is that once you've built it and you decide to get out of it, it sort of stays there, and so that's yours, right? And until the moment where you come back and you want to build a new one, it's sort of cool that we were able to give that to players to express themselves.
At this point in the demo, we've explored East Anglia.
Also, you can make them even
We've met some
crazier,
children, we've
like
broken into a
balance them
house,
on
we fought a
edges.
boss, we built a cairn. I think now it's finally time to go and head off to Oswald's wedding.
Yeah, so this is the moment it's all been building up to. By the moment you get into the territory, it's sort of like mentioned by Oswald that he's trying to get married with his Dane lady. And so as you go through the arc, that's sort of like the underlying thread. Really, it's about Rued creating turmoil in the territory and helping Oswald sort of get above that and show that he's a good leader. And so you finally, after going through all of that arc, finally get these two together, go through their wedding, and you're invited to attend the ceremony. And then all the activities and fun times that comes afterwards.
Yeah, as much as we've seen the brutal side of England, it's nice to see.
Yeah, guys, this is work in progress. The reason you're seeing like
and it's something we really wanted
crazy
to
facial animations or the lack of them thereof.
Being a
It's
Viking
because this
is
isn't the
not
finalized
only
product.
about
There's so
being a
many
raider or
months
warrior.
until the game
I
releases.
mean, there's revelry, there's feasting, there's partying that goes, and like if someone knows how to party, it's a Viking. And so here, this is one of our opportunities to sort of show that, show what a sort of Viking gathering is. And what's cool here is it's a good alliance.
Dude,
of
this is like
Norse culture with Saxon culture.
University
sort of
Simulator
smashing those
2021
together, and building bridges.
Yeah, I mean, what's a
like
wedding
fat
without some
dorm
drug
room. Simulator.
Yeah, so, anything can happen in a Viking event.
I kind of
right?
like the charm of it.
Or, yeah, here,
What do you
just get
guys
drunk
think?
and shoot some arrows.
I think the game looks more charming than Odyssey. Just gonna say it like that.
Steady all, and ready yourself for the wedding race. The king and his bride against
Like, yeah, it kind of builds upon Odyssey. I mean, it's recognizable, but there's so much more. And he's dead.
Here we see the decision I made to spare Rued came back to bite us.
Yep, that's the decision you made, coming back. So as we said before, all of your decisions have consequences.
He looks smaller.
This is a big one.
I challenge you.
Let's go.
I accept.
What?
You're basically presented with the option to sort of step in for Oswald, fight the fight for him, or let him go and fight his own fight.
Yeah, you know, personally, I chose to fight myself because I thought Eivor is the type of person that likes to finish what she started.
Plank by plank, and a dead king cannot keep his oaths. Let me finish this.
Yeah, whoop his ass.
Oswald, you gutless Irish swine.
Dude, I swear he was bigger
I'll slay
in the previous shot.
wolf-kissed, then hang you with your own tongue.
My G, you got smacked in the face.
How does this encounter with Ruid differ from our previous fight with him?
So at this point, you've eliminated his wolf, so it's just him, and so he's angry at this point, and so he will start using his big gun abilities like fairly earlier on in the fight. So it's way more vicious, way faster. There's less strategy. He goes literally swords blazing at you, and so this is a fight to the death.
Ooh. Dodge. It's kind of a bummer because I kind of wish that sparing his life would make him your own lieutenant.
This is a decision you made to go and fight him, but there's multiple outcomes to this scenario. You could have let Oswald fight his own fight and prove basically his station as the rightful leader. If you had eliminated Rued, obviously this would not have happened. It would have been a slightly more joyous occasion. But ultimately, in all scenarios, you still have an alliance with Oswald. He's proven to be the right leader for this territory and to be a good ally for you.
I promised you an alliance.
Well, that's kind of a bummer. I kind of wish that we could recruit like the former leaders of the castles and make them our own, like in Shadow of War.
So we're about to take off from the wedding, but Eivor decides it's a good idea to check up on
So I guess the outcome doesn't change.
Yeah, so Finner
that
is
much.
probably one of the more recurring characters in this arc. You get to meet him very early on. He's a very endearing character, sort of used to have a Viking life, sort of misses it, and going through all these adventures together is sort of like lights that fire back, and so he's willing to join you in your raiders. So he's one of many raiders that you'll encounter in the game, and you can sort of recruit, bring back home, and then have them sort of join you on your adventures on Longship. He can tell you these stories that we're telling you about. You get to know a little bit more about him. So again, it's a fun way to sort of discover more about these characters that you meet and bring them along for adventures.
Together. I'll gather my things.
Well, folks, we've come to the end of our Assassin's Creed Valhalla playthrough. Fizz, thank you so much for joining us. When and where can people play it?
Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be out on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, and is coming to Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC, and Stadia on November 17th.